This is the facelifted Tesla Model Y, and we're going to tell you all you need to know about it. I'm Tom Jervis, and you're watching Auto Express. Right, before we get started, I just want to address the elephant in the room, that is Tesla's CEO Elon Musk. Now, we've all got our opinions on him, but that's not what we're here to talk about. What we're here to talk about is this, the facelifted Tesla Model Y. And what we want to know is how improved is it over the old model, and does it still offer great value for money, which is ultimately the most important thing nowadays. The new Tesla Model Y starts from just under £45,000, and that unfortunately means it's liable for the luxury car surcharge when you're talking about road tax. It's also quite a bit more expensive than some rivals like the Skoda Enyaq and the Renault Scenic. However, even the base rear-wheel drive model, according to Tesla, will do around 311 miles on a single charge, and will even do 0 to 60 miles an hour in 5.6 seconds, which ultimately for this type of car is all most buyers will ever need. If you plan to travel long distances frequently, there is the option of the long-range rear-wheel drive, which Tesla says it will do 387 miles on a single charge, and it'll even do 0 to 60 in around 0.2 seconds faster, but I don't think you'll notice that. And if you're looking for power, you can get what we've got here, which is the long-range all-wheel drive model, which gets an electric motor on the front axle to provide a combined 444 brake horsepower. This will do 0 to 60 in around 4.6 seconds and has a 364 mile range. A performance model is on the way. This will have around 450 brake horsepower and will do 0 to 60 miles an hour in around 3 seconds. So by now you've probably noticed that the new Tesla Model Y looks awfully like the old Tesla Model Y. However, there have been some fundamental changes, and the most prominent of which is what you can see here, this full width light bar across the front, which is supposed to be reminiscent of the Tesla Cybertruck. And round the back you've got another full width light bar which illuminates the Tesla script. As you can see here, it looks very nice, but it's in fact the only place on the exterior of the car where it says Tesla. Last but not least, I just want to address the wheels. Now, they look pretty nice, but 3 things. 1, they're pretty easy to curb. This is only a press car and it's only done a couple of thousand miles and it's already got some pretty bad curbing on it. Secondly is they do reduce range compared to the standard wheels. And thirdly, they cost around £2,000 extra. Stick with the base wheels. The Tesla's maximum charging speed is 250 kilowatts, which, while it sounds rather impressive, isn't that class leading nowadays. It will still charge the car from around 10 to 80% in under half an hour if you manage to find one of those ultra rapid chargers. Otherwise, you're looking around 10 hours for a full charge from one of those 7 kilowatt home wall boxes. Stepping inside the new Model Y, and it's business as usual, but with some welcome changes. So for starters, you get these rather supportive new seats that are available in black and white. And if I step inside to avoid the sound of planes, you'll see that actually everything feels quite posh in here. Yeah, you've got this bit of trim on the dashboard which feels like it's been stuck on badly, but it is trimmed in a nice Alcantara, and then you've got more Alcantara on the doors, and hey, even felt lined door pockets like you're in a Volkswagen. Ultimately, the whole thing feels quite a bit posher than something like, say, a Hyundai Ioniq 5. Now, all cars come with 2 touchscreens. This is the main one here. It's absolutely massive and is just as responsive as your own smartphone. It's absolutely packed with features. So for example, you've got all of your different streaming services here. So you've got likes of Apple Music, Spotify, and then you've also got built-in games, which used to be a bit of a novel feature, but is on other cars now. Ultimately, while it is really responsive to use, there are quite a few menus you have to go through. So for example, if you want to change the climate control, you've got to tap on that eventually and adjust the climate control and adjust the fan speed, go into that. And if you want to turn on the heated seats, for example, you have to tap that button and then tap the heated seat button on here. One thing worth pointing out though is you can't get Apple CarPlay or Android Auto with this car. You've just got to use Tesla's operating system. That might be a drawback for some, but you still get all of your streaming services like that, so it isn't too bad. Before we hop into the back seats, I just want to talk about the steering wheel, and thank goodness Tesla has listened to customer feedback and got rid of those really annoying indicator buttons that were on the facelifted Model 3. Instead, they've opted for an old-fashioned indicator stalk, and by old-fashioned I mean screen, one of those annoying ones that pops back, which is a little bit irritating, but regardless, you do still have light controls on here, so press that and that will flash your high beams. You've also got these rotary switches here for your volume and adjusting your cruise control, and perhaps my favourite feature is if I press this button, you'll get all of the cameras up, which is great for if you're in a tight car parking space. Something that annoys me and will definitely annoy other people is the fact that there are still no dials behind the steering wheel. Even after this facelift, Tesla has not installed a head-up display in the Model Y, which means you're constantly turning to look at your speed on the main touchscreen, which is really annoying because A, you're going to be turning your head to look away from the road, but it also means that when you're looking at the road, you're likely going to be under, or in worst case scenarios, over the speed limit. I've been contractually obliged to tell you that you can now sell and buy your next car through Auto Express. We've got decades of trusted experience, so we can make the car changing journey easy and worry-free. So just click the link in the description below and get going today. So, what's it like in the back here? Well, I'm 5'10" for reference, and I've got loads of room. I've got a good amount of knee room. This seat's in my usual driving position. And you've also got this aeroplane style folder, which feels a lot more premium than your usual nettage that you get in other cars. And then lying back here, I've got a good amount of headroom, despite there being a sloping roofline and this huge glass roof, which by the way does let in a lot of light, but it also lets in heat. So on warmer days like today, you may want to put the air conditioning on. Something worth mentioning is the flat floor back here, which means that you can carry 3 abreast really easily. So if you're looking to carry a lot of people frequently, that could be something worth considering. Now, you can't sit in the back of the Tesla Model Y without mentioning this, a second screen. Now, this is exclusive for the rear seat passengers and is actually just as responsive as the one in the front. But 2 things I might mention. Firstly, where it's positioned, so it's not that big, and then when you're sat all the way back here, you're having to look down at it, which could give you neck ache on a longer journey. And secondly, kids all have iPads nowadays and their own phones, and I do wonder whether this will actually get any use out of it, or whether kids will just use their own devices. Now, onto the boot, and for starters, I will tell you that I'm not going to give you any statistics back here, because Tesla measures its boots in a completely different way to other manufacturers, and that wouldn't be a fair comparison. But what I will say is you've got absolutely loads of space back here. In fact, I think that you could probably get 2 large suitcases in here. Under here, you've got space for cables and such, but I'd probably put them somewhere else. More on that in a moment. You've also got these massive cavities down either side. Not so good is this cargo cover, which you kind of flip up and then, oh, it doesn't quite fit, and then you try and push it back and then it comes out and then it's really difficult. That's a bit rubbish. But something that isn't rubbish is the fact that you can fold the seats down electrically with these buttons. Something the Model Y has almost all of its rivals trumped on is the size of its frunk. It's absolutely huge. You can fit a large weekend bag in here, definitely the cables, or if you're fancying a party, there's even a little drain down there so you can fill it with ice and then drain it out once it's done. So, is this an evolution or a revolution in the way that the Model Y drives? Well, the Tesla Model Y still drives like a Tesla, in the way that it's got more power than you'll ever need and rather artificial, vague feeling steering. But there have been some improvements, mainly to do with ride comfort. Yes, the springs are still rather stiff, but it does remain quite composed over bumps, and there's also less wind noise now thanks to some increased glazing in the glass. But don't go thinking that this is a sports utility vehicle. Don't let those numbers fool you. No, if you're looking for something that's more fun to drive, maybe pick something like a Cupra Tavascan or a Ford Capri. One last thing we do want to point out is how efficient the Model Y is. During our time with the car, we managed well over 4 miles per kilowatt hour, which translates to a range in excess of 300 miles. And that's even when doing some motorway driving. So if you are looking to go long distances frequently in an EV, this is one of the best ones for it. So, what are our thoughts on the facelifted Tesla Model Y? Well, it improves in almost every area. It's got better range, it's more comfortable, it's even more brimming with tech than before. The only thing I would say is that when the Model Y first arrived, it was in a category of its own. However, so many different manufacturers now offer these family electric SUVs. And while the Model Y is arguably at the top of the class, rivals don't come with the same stigma.